She's in mourning to Marilyn Horse. You're black. Why are you black?
No, I love black. I've got black with white trousers. It looks very smart.
Oh, right. I mean, this hot weather, of course, you can't see what's under the desk, and the number of television and radio presenters that have got their shorts on. I've got my shorts on, but you're not looking.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
only when
like,
you ask to stand up that you are then all revealed. All is revealed. No, no, I like black. I think it looks good against a tan as well. I think no, I like it. Black and white, very nice.
well, there you go.
But I'm not in mourning. I don't think so. Anyway, who knows? By the end of the day, I may be.
Yes. Look, there's a number of things that are very important we've got to mention. But before we do, we'll have a bit of a lead in, which is different because we are continually complaining about the police, probably with good reason. But I tell you what, they do have to cope with a lot of constraints by the head honcho of a particular force who are enforcing this wretched DEI concept on the police. And it's causing, as we know, the Henry Novak case was particularly illustrative of the problem, but it's not got to be over exaggerated. The police, by and large, do a fantastic job. And I'll tell you what, some footage has been sent to us as an average day policing, and they're seen to be dealing with young ladies, often with too much alcohol in them, and trying to restrain a young lady in a kindly fashion is just about impossible. They go absolutely wild when the drugs and the drink take over.
But it doesn't give any police officer any excuse to punch him in the face.
No, it doesn't.
And they have the ability of using pepper spray. So that's the whole idea, that if you find it difficult to contain someone and you are very often on your own and you haven't always got a buddy with you, that you use the pepper spray. And in that time, you can handcuff them. So I think the brutality, some of these police officers that you've seen, like some of the people in Southampton with Henry Novak, those girls are out and about, yes, and they were giving it both barrels, the girls, I quite agree. But it did not mean that the police had the right to physically assault them, because they have the wherewithal. There are enough officers there. They have the wherewithal. They could have easily used the pepper spray. That completely immobilizes you for a short time, and they could have arrested them. They did not need to do what they did.
No, indeed. There are two truths. One we've mentioned, you've mentioned, but the other, which I've mentioned on a number of occasions, because we used to live and film a lot on the Isle of Wight. The Isle of Wight is Festival Island, and you get the second most famous festival there, second to Glastonbury. And we had to be protected, not from the hulks of manhood, but from the girls who were full of drink and full of drugs, and they would put a stiletto heel through your skull if you looked at them the wrong way. Now, what I'm saying is that never used to be the case. The ladies used to exert themselves in this direction. What has happened to change? Because it has changed.
No respect. There's no respect anymore.
True.
There's no respect for other people. There's no respect for any form of authority. It's my right to carry on in such a dreadful way that you're pushing boundaries, you're pushing somebody else's tolerance. And that's what it is. I mean, they're not taught properly in schools. They're not taught because they're too woke, so they don't get a telling off. The parents don't treat their children. I mean, I've never been to festivals, but I remember the first one when it was the Isle of Wight Festival, and I was about 16, and I never went. I don't like being with lots of people. I don't like being around where there's drugs and drink and anything can kick off, because it just changes your personality. But it is, I think, generally a lack of respect for yourself and a lack of respect for other people, as I say, authority, whatever. They think they're freewheeling. I can do what I want. And I think a lot of people today suffer from iitis.
Me, yes.
So but you've only got to see. I saw the other day on GB News they were debating, which I've never heard before, but the criminal age of responsibility is 10 years old, right? So they were debating, oh, should it go higher? Should it be higher? And thankfully, some people were calling in saying, no, absolutely not. And I agree. I mean, all this, is another woke idea that 10-year-olds are more badly behaved now than they ever were years ago. And if you can do an adult crime, right from wrong. If you can do an adult crime, then I'm sorry, do the crime, take the time. I'm sorry. And also, we can't criminalize children. Yes, you can. And sometimes you have to. You've got 11-year-olds and 12-year-olds stabbing people. What you do? Oh, they're only a child. No, you knew what you were doing. They know what a knife can do. There's no excuse. I'm absolutely. I don't think it should change. It's pretty much the only deterrent you've got.
Well, down to the parenting again, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's the same thing with joint enterprise. I mean, you stand there. I was in a school yesterday with a whole load of children, and I was talking to them about joint enterprise. Joint enterprise is something that should be taught in every single school, because I have yet to be in a school where anyone has ever heard of it. And you stand around with the wrong person in the wrong place at the wrong time, and something wrong happens, and you're just standing there, you are also going to be nicked. And it might be unfair. You can say the law is unfair, but if you stood there and someone was stabbed and you did nothing, you didn't try and stop the wound, you didn't shout for help, you didn't call the police, you didn't even run away, then, you're nicked. Joint enterprise is a very, very lively law, and schools should be talking about it. And they're not. I go in and I tell them, and they're like, oh, half the teachers haven't even heard of it, but it's a very lively law.
We move on to something else that has arisen in the last couple of days. And I've got a question. Has the King, Charles III, become a traitor? Now that's going around.
Yes.
That's actually saying that. It's not just a question of he's not my king, but he is my king or he isn't my king. What's your choice? I used to hold my hands up in horror. I think I'm changing my mind.
I think he is a traitor to Christianity. Now, I put that out on X at the weekend. This man is a traitor to Christianity. He took a solemn vow where he said he was leader of the faith. The faith in the UK, the faith is Christianity. And he said that to the viewing of millions and millions of people around the globe. He said it. He can't go back and rewrite what he said. He said he was leader of the faith. He can't now write it and say, oh, I'm leader of multi-faith. No, you're not. You can probably have some interest or be supportive of other faiths, but you are not the leader of those faiths. You cannot rewrite the vow and the solemn oath that you took. And when I put that out on X, and I'm still counting, I got just under 1,900 people that supported it. And the trouble is, Prince William's going to be exactly the same. He thinks Muslims are, there's a religion of peace. No, it's not. Where's your head been all this time? He isn't. He's not. His mother must be turning in her grave. He's a traitor. I used to be very keen on the royal family. I'm not so much now. I think it died when the Queen died. She was the leader of the church. She was what she vowed to do, and she didn't put her foot wrong. This geezer, I'm sorry, I've got no time. I've got no time for him at all. And they said us today, will the royal family be survive? I couldn't give a monkeys if it didn't anymore, quite honestly.
Well, let's dig down a little bit, because when you are crowned king at your coronation, you have to, in effect, not exactly become a priest, but you have to take priestly vows to Christ as a Christian. Now, this has come out in a strange way. It's all tied up with how much is the king earning? There's the open book. You can see how much Buck House is worth. You can see it's everything. That's another debate we must have. But putting that on one side, it's strange. he's always been a bit odd.
Yes, true.
People say spoilt. Why allegedly does he need somebody to put toothpaste on his toothbrush? Why, if he drops something in the paper basket by the side of his desk, oh, I shouldn't have done that, does he call an attendant with a nice bell and say, can you pick that out of the waste paper basket? So he's always been a bit, some people go as far as to say spoiled brat. But it comes
Yes.
out in the way sometimes he behaves, actually. And that's who he is. Okay. Having said that, I will read one sentence that happens in the coronation, and that he has now amended, putting it out through this document about what he's earning. It's bizarre. Did he want to sneak it in, a la present government, who do things like this, the back door, the new law, which nobody would accept if you brought it out in the plain, but if you come in the back door, they have to accept it. And I'll read it. He's protector of the space, protector of the space for faith within a multi-faith nation. Now that means he is up there to make sure whatever you believe, you're right. That's quite different from being head of the church and believing in Christ, Christianity. Now, why is that important? Because Christianity is very acceptable to other religions. As a Christian, you say, well, if you don't believe, okay. Very few religions say this. We're not going to chop your head off, throw you off a roof or whatever if you go against our laws. No, you can believe what you have. That's the way Christianity works. It's a loving religion that says those are the consequences. There is black and white. You go your own way. Okay, we won't throw you down off the nearest cliff. Not like many other religions, but in one sense, it's very exclusive. It says there's only one God and there's only one way to God, and that is through Jesus Christ. Now, if you're head of the church that says that, and the Bible, the New Testament, is full of that simple statement, you cannot say all the other religions are right and I'm going to look after you. Now, it may sound a bit severe, but Christianity is so loving, but it does regard the red line. You either believe or you don't. We're not going to condemn you. We're going to give you an opportunity to believe or not believe. And that's brilliant in any religion.
Well, it also, you are allowed free will. So, that puts you what difference above animals. Animals behave in a certain way. We have free will. We can choose whether we want to be a Christian or not. You can't do that in other religions. You're sort of like, I don't know what you would call it. I mean, you could be atheist if you want in a Christian country. You could be agnostic, but it's and he cannot. You go back to the original thing. He cannot rewrite a vow that he took at the time of his coronation, or he went into taking that oath not completely believing in it. In the same way, I could say, but I don't wish to appear judgmental, but I shall say it, he didn't give much regard to the solemn vows of his marriage, did he?
There are many people that rise to high positions that are not of the best in their behavior.
Well, he hasn't exactly covered himself in glory, has he? I mean,
No.
I've never been a fan. I think the best person that could possibly replace the Queen was Princess Anne, quite frankly. I think she's amazing, but I just think it's disgusting what he's done. He's got no brownie points from it. A lot of people are writing on X who said, I've always sort of supported, but this is just not right. And it isn't right. Bishop Kai, he's put a big thing out on X about he is a traitor. He is a traitor. He's a traitor to Christianity. And also, I mean, when it was Eid, when it was Ramadan, there he was looking ridiculous with a stupid little hat on, and there was the Queen giving out dates for Eid or Ramadan or something. What does he give? What did he do for us during like Good Friday, Holy Week? Absolutely nothing.
Well, I'll tell you what upsets me, and that's the fact that when we had the head of the Nigerian government come over, state banquets, the whole lot,
Exactly. I know what you're going to
there
say.
was a great opportunity then to stand up and say, welcome, but what are you going to do about persecution of
Mm,
Christians?
mm,
Christianity is the most persecuted in the world, and the
mhm.
leader of this, 70% of the new modern Christian martyrs are in Nigeria
Yes.
this very day. And 3 days ago, another church was invaded by the Boko Harams of that country.
Mm,
Their president knows exactly what's going on, and nothing was done. They killed so many people again during worship. They kidnapped 30 young children.
yeah.
Goodness knows what's happened to them. Nothing is done. It's gone year after year. The only person that's done something is Donald Trump. Every
Yes.
now and again, he sends a squad there to try and get some
Exactly.
semblance of order. So I'm
It is
sorry,
disgraceful.
King Charles, for me at the moment, nil point.
Absolutely, me too. Me too. I don't even know why they had the Nigerian people over here on a state visit anyway. Why? I don't understand it. No, he's not a shadow of what he should be. I don't feel there's any real integrity there somehow. You know, I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. I don't buy into it at all. And he'll send out a message to someone like, "Oh, the king wishes the England team this, that, and the other," but you know, he did nothing. Absolutely nothing when people have lost their children, like Sharon White, like Mrs. Webber, whose son was, you know, you can't choose who you feel sorry for. You know, he wrote something about, yes, it's dreadful, the earthquakes in Venezuela. It is absolutely heartbreaking. But you know, he's done all sorts of things. Oh, the queen, king and queen, you know, really, well, that's really going to help me in my mess, isn't it? You know, yeah, or you send it like, you know, but he doesn't do anything for people here that have lost their kids because of the Muslim people coming in here who are not the real deal. They're coming in here from the most violent parts of the world, and they are unbelievable. It's just dreadful, absolutely dreadful. He's lost
Something,
my respect completely.
something else we must move on to is Family Education Trust.
Mm,
Now, a book has been written, not nearly a decade ago, that sums up almost prophetically where we are today. And that
mm,
is our progressive society as licensed schools, universities, any place that affects the learning of our kids into the progressive policy of anything goes. Now, we've been nattering on for years, you and I, in many ways about this. And one of the things we say consistently is pornography is poison, especially for the young people, poison for the adults, the type of pornography you have today. It's not girly photographs like it used to be, it's horrendous.
no way. Mm.
Well, with little ones, it changes their lives. But it's been put forward and suggested it's a good thing. In our primary schools, you must experiment to know what it's all about. Do you remember? And it was only a matter of nearly a decade ago now. There was a thing that came out of the United States, and it was refreshingly different. It was called the silver ring thing. Now,
Oh
somebody
yes, I
dare
do.
suggest, yes, somebody dare
Yes, I do
suggest
remember
in
that.
Middle America, maybe the
Yeah.
Bible Belt, that hang on, no, don't experiment. Wait till you're married and wear a silver ring saying, if you wish,
Yeah.
I'm a virgin. I believe in that because I believe, in that case, in the Bible. Hang on before you experiment and change your life.
Mhm.
It will till you're married. Oh, that's interesting. Didn't catch on over here, did it?
So the Family Education Trust brought this book out called Unprotected in 2017, and they knocked this out together pretty quickly, really. And it was actually looking at Torbay, the child exploitation and the gangs that were going on in Torbay, Liverpool, Rochdale, Rotherham, Thurrock, Oxfordshire, Hampshire, and Bristol. And Bristol was 2016. So they got this together. They were going on about the normalization of underage sex, undermining the age of consent, confidential provision of contraception for the under 16s. And this is how they were saying public policy is putting young people at risk. They put sex education and reluctance to consider anything wrong, sexual rights of children and young people. And on the very back of the book was quite a damning thing. It said, sadly, Norman Wells was the director of Family Education Trust. And he died of COVID in the first 2 or 3 weeks of it going round. But he writes here, the appalling revelations of systematic child abuse and exploitation in England's towns and cities over the past few years have led to a considerable amount of soul searching and the root cause of the crisis. Now, this goes back, as you rightly say, 10 years. This was brought to light. And then a director said, senior professor at Nottingham Business School said, the report is utterly damning. A clear picture emerges of a culture to which underage sexual activity has come to be viewed as a normal part of growing up and seen as relatively harmless as long as it's consensual. It is of the utmost important that the government takes the findings of this report seriously and undertakes an urgent review about confidential sexual health services. Now so it is a report that was made into a book, right? It's a really interesting read. But then they've come out with another report over at the weekend by their communications and PR person on conversion therapy. The conversion therapy bill aims to silence dissent. So you have this, Rodney, but I have highlighted bits that the salient points of which I can just spend a couple of minutes. So now this is about your children wanting to think they want to transition, right? The bill, that is a draft bill. Now, I don't think it's been discussed. It's gone to the House of Lords. The bill puts parents at risk of 5 years in prison and an unlimited fine if they are accused of unreasonable behavior by questioning their child's sexuality or gender and causing harm. Causing harm is very vague. They don't really ascertain what that really is. But even if the bar for prosecution is high, the impact this bill would have on family is profound. Straight out of the playbook of North Korea to encourage children to report their parents for not supporting LGBT and activism, right? And it's not just even the parents. The bill defines transgender identity as anyone who is transsexual or is proposing to go through gender reassignment. So this means that parents who refuse to agree that their child is non-binary or gender fluid, whatever that means, can fall as foul of this law. Now, what is more worrying as well is ministers have stated that asexuality is also covered in this bill. And this means, wait for this, that children under 16 are encouraged to identify as asexual as they have not experienced sexual attraction, right? So now you're asexual. I mean, it is absolutely bonkers. Then something was put towards, there was a doctor, where's she gone? Dr. Cass explained what had happened. I'm going to find it in the thing here. Hang on a minute. There's some statistics here, right? So government figures were going on about a medical condition and also growing rates of mental health and anxiety. So anxiety and depression has increased from 2,500 a month in 2019. Wait for this, to 8,800 people a month in 2024. That's in 5 years, right? 1 in 10 16 to 24-year-olds now identify themselves as lesbian, gay, or bisexual. The increased rates of transgender identity have risen fivefold since 2000, fivefold in 26 years, right? Egged on, of course, by trans activist organizations such as Stonewall. Then, as they rightly say, the Family Education Trust believes this bill is purposely intended to shut down debate and ensure that parents are rendered powerless to protect their children. They're also worried that teachers are going to be more worried about being accused and arrested for accusations of homophobia, more worried about that than the consequences of affirming a young child by being concerned about the transphobia. They're going to be more concerned about being accused of transphobia. Then this doctor, last week it was, produced this case to the House of Lords, a Baroness Merron. And Dr. Cass says she asked peers to consider, now this is a true story, a case of an 11-year-old boy who transitioned by his parents' wishes at age 2. Age 2. So this now boy has become a girl. The doctor said to the House of Lords, is it the doctors or politicians who decide on whether this child should have puberty blockers? Baroness Merron said it's not a political matter. It's driven by clinical evidence. Of course, the Family Education Trust are making their argument that they strongly disagree. It is a political issue. It is a political issue, and because it's child abuse. And it's correct. It is child abuse. Now, they're saying here, it is not the time to stay silent. They can't arrest all of us. So, what I've done, I've written to the MP. Here is the document. I've written to the MP, and it was sent to me by the Family Education Trust. I sent it out to my media mates. It found its way onto Talk TV yesterday, and it found its way onto GB News, and we are now talking about it as well. So I would urge anyone, anyone I put on Twitter, the remotest concern about child welfare should, get their MP to raise this in Parliament, because this is going to slide under the radar like so much other stuff. It's in the House of Lords already.
Yeah, this is the wickedness. We'll use that phrase again, the wickedness of the LGBT movement, and any movement, indeed, that wants to shut you down. You've got to realise what's happening, folks. The figures that they quote are absolutely horrible and not true. And they have so much effect on society and ordinary people. Oh, well, 10% of the nation is homosexual. What a load of rubbish. You've only got to look at the last census, and it's between 1, some people say less, and 2%, if that. And this is how they wheedle their way into alternative lifestyles that are ruining us as an individual, as a nation. Please wake up, folks, to what is happening. Backdoor again, Trojan horse again.
Yes. I mean, they've done it. They did it with the euthanasia bill. They did it with the 40 weeks abortion. And this is absolutely eating into the family unit, the fabric of family life that, a mother can be. I mean, they're releasing killers and murderers and sex offenders, about 6,000 of them, but they're going to put a woman, a mother who cares about their child transitioning, in prison for 5 years. I mean, it's true. It is like North Korea. And that's what Family Education Trust is saying. It is absolutely disgraceful. I could not believe it when I read this on Sunday. And Lucy Marsh sent it to me. So I'm hoping that you will get Lucy on your show. She can explain it more and what the Family Education Trust do.
Yes, we're into this and there's more to come. Listen, we're out of time. And we've got to go on to a little bit of good news. We keep banging on about oil, don't we? And especially olive oil. Well, there's something coming out of all this in that I'm asked on a lot of occasions, uh, why is palm oil bad news? And what's it going to do to me? Because it's in so many products these days.
Mm.
It contains no palm oil. They put on in big letters if it doesn't contain that. It's nothing to do with the health at all. People just think it is. It's not. It's basically because they're digging up raw jungle and plant palm trees that will produce this type of fat or oil, and it's used especially when you're not using the good old-fashioned dripping in a chip shop, which is cow, of course, the old-fashioned taste, and it still goes on in lots of parts of the north of England and Scotland because people like the animal taste when they're having the fish and chips. Not my taste, but people like it and still is being served. But now it's gone to other kind of oils, especially palm oil, because it's a fat that will withstand very high heating.
Mm.
And for those of you that say, and you're one of them, there's now like good fish and chips from a chip shop. You
That's
can't
true.
make chips at home. It is true. The reason being, of course, is you use the best industrial equipment for producing the right temperatures and the right
Yeah.
fats. So that's why it is a superior product. So it's basically a little bit of saving the planet, and I'm not arguing against it. If you want to build a whole load of palm oil, do it on fresh land. Don't dig up jungles. It's the cheap way of doing it,
Yeah.
and planting your palm trees that way. So no, it's not a health hazard, but it is a hazard when orangutans, for instance,
Mm.
are being displaced because they've got
Yes.
no jungle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So think
No,
about that.
yeah, over in Borneo, it's sad. I like the orangutans. They're very cute.
Yes, I don't. There's a reason for that. We will discuss on another visit.
Okay.
We have filmed them. That's all the hint I'll give. We'll see you very
See
shortly.
you soon. Take care. Bye bye now. God bless. Bye bye.